Coming to you live from $1 Million Studios, your boys, Chris Speezak,
a.k.a. White Bread,
and the benchmark of professional wrestling, Mr. Silky Baines,
a.k.a. that chocolate bread.
Speez and the Benchmark Show on a Thursday night, September 20th, 2018. Thank you so much for being with us. All of you joining us on Periscope or over on the YouTubes, or those of you listening to us after the fact on the podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, any way you can hear your favorite podcast, you can catch Speez and the Benchmark Show. And don't forget about the tip jar, tinyurl.com/SB tip jar, if you want to pitch in a couple bucks to the cause here, because as Silky likes to say,
these bills need to get paid.
Indeed they do. And of course, as always, phone lines are open. Taking your phone calls live here on the program tonight. 832-937-4559 or
832-93-SILKY. I had a little.
It's still ridiculous, but
I put a little funk on it.
Yeah, you know, Juanito was a big
stank on
fan. Juanito was a big fan of the little ditty that you came up with last time.
Yeah.
So we might have to stick with that.
We might have to.
We might have to do that. Let's give a shout out to all the folks joining us here on the Periscopes.
We got Alice the Fiend, Rebecca Smith, Sasha Reigns, Juanito, and Mac Diesel, and some other motherfuckers that it will not show me.
Yeah, it's kind of irritating that you can't see everybody all the time, but that is not a problem. We are happy to have all of you with us. Hope you guys will share this with your followers or share it out there on the Twitters as well. My boy David with us over on YouTube. I'm sure we'll have more folks coming in there also. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. We're going to talk a little SmackDown Live, a little NXT. Look, anything you want to talk about tonight, it's all you tonight, folks. So hit us up on the chat room, hit us up on the phone lines, whatever you want to do.
Already got one right here.
Best WWE match of all time from Michael Ice or Mikhail Ice, or I don't know how to say your name, Iceman. We're just going to call him the Iceman.
Iceman.
Best WWE match of all time. We're just starting off like we're just going to hit the ground running tonight.
Hit the ground running. Fuck it. I think one of my favorite matches was the very first 3 Stages of Hell match with Triple H and Stone Cold. And just because the sheer brutality of it and, you know, how all that storyline played out, I think that was like the most invested I was coming up watching it.
That's fair enough. And for me, I go with TLC 2 from WrestleMania 17. I'm biased because I was actually there.
I was there too. Hardy
Boys, Dudley Boys, Edge, and Christian. So many ridiculously cool spots in that match. You know, it's kind of a spot monkey match to a certain extent, but that was okay by me because I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was awesome. Always a good conversation starter, Iceman. I agree. What's up, young Raph? Good to have you with us, sir. And I agree, that match was underrated.
I mean, it was great. Like, I just watched that Dinner for 3, which was 4. Which
is odd that they would call it Dinner for 3 with 4
Well,
people.
it was cool. It was pretty funny because when you watch it, normally at the bottom how it has the like 3 logo. This time it was a 4 there because it was Matt Hardy. It was Hardy to the Hardys, Edge, and Christian.
I got you.
And
Get the Tables coming strong with the Super Hard. Sorry to interrupt you, but I had to send a shout out to those guys. Remember, you can catch Get the Tables immediately after Speez and the Benchmark Show, so follow those guys as well.
It was pretty, like I say, it was pretty good. And I was kind of wanting them to address the whole Edge, Matt Hardy Lita thing, but they didn't. So I was a little bummed.
Not really surprising, but, you know, I guess it's probably not a popular topic of conversation amongst those guys, even to this day.
I mean, I can imagine, like, hey, remember that time I fucked your girl?
Yeah. Don't imagine that's a great conversation starter. So, I forgot to put this on the crap. I forgot to put it up on the shit here so that we can see it. Have you guys seen this picture of Cesaro on vacation in the Bahamas? Because it's one of the most hilarious things that you'll ever see. And I've got it here, and I got to find a way to get it into the show without screwing up everything that we're doing live here. But if you haven't, go check it out because it's so great.
All right.
It's just so great. It's excellent. I was gonna have Silky hasn't seen it, so I was gonna have him actually look at it for the first time here. And but I don't want to do that if you guys can't see it at home because that would be kind of obnoxious. So we'll come back to it at another time. So we already got phone callers waiting for us already. I have a feeling I know who this is on the phone call here, but we'll get over to her. Well, let's get over to her right now. We're going to head to the phone lines here because our good friend and Roman Reigns correspondent, Sasha Reigns, is joining us here on the program. What's up, Sasha? How are you?
Sasha.
Well, I have some good news on Roman.
Okay, Sasha Reigns. This is Roman Reigns correspondent to the Speez and the Benchmark Show, Sasha Reigns, with good news about Roman Reigns. This is breaking news here, folks. Sasha, I hope it's good because you got everybody's attention now. Let's hear it.
Kenny Omega took a jab at Roman Reigns.
Kenny Omega, you said?
Yeah, I did hear about that. Kenny Omega took a jab at Roman Reigns. So for those who didn't hear it, Sasha, can you inform the people about what it is that Kenny Omega said about Roman Reigns?
I didn't specifically read about it, but I just heard about it.
Yeah, so basically, Kenny Omega in preparation for his match against Tanahashi, another match against Hiroshi Tanahashi, one of our favorites.
Yes.
Because he's on the podcast.
He's on the podcast.
Tanahashi, who's lent his voice to us in the past. Kenny Omega actually comparing Tanahashi to Roman Reigns, which apparently was supposed to be an insult. Never mind the fact that Roman Reigns is probably the top guy at the top wrestling company in the world. So I don't really know how that would be an insult, but it was kind of taken by those online as an insult.
I guess I could see that taken as an insult.
Did you think it was an insult, Sasha Reigns?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. What do you think about Kenny Omega insulting Roman Reigns, your favorite male wrestler?
I don't like that.
Yeah, I didn't imagine that you would. So any chance that we see Kenny Omega get his ass kicked by Roman Reigns? Do you think Roman's going to exact some revenge at some point?
Yes.
Yeah, see, Sasha Reigns, she knows what's up. She knows the big dog is not going to take this lightly.
I mean, you saw how he handled the Tama Tonga situation.
That's true. They had a nice little back and forth on Twitter there. And did I hear this correctly also, Sasha Reigns, that you will be dressing up as Roman Reigns for Halloween this year? Is that correct?
Yes, I will.
Okay, well,
nice.
we got to have photographic evidence of that because I'm sure it's going to be outstanding.
Pics or it didn't happen.
That's right. So I'm sure you will keep us posted of anything else new that happens with Roman. But thank you, as always, for the call, Sasha. We appreciate it. And we look forward to talking to you on the next show.
I also have one more that might be shocking.
Okay.
That's two?
This one might be shocking.
Okay.
I thought the first one was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
IWGP champ calling out the Universal champ. But what's the other one? Let's hear it.
WWE is forcing a Braun Strowman heel turn for the sake of Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I keep hearing that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that around too.
That they're using Braun to try to get Roman over. Again, with the trying to get Roman over.
I mean, I see where they're going with that. Because he needs a big monster heel to overcome.
Which is fine.
So, and nobody wants to see Brock in him again.
It's probably going to happen sooner or later anyway, because that's what they do.
So, Braun Strowman's the next logical choice.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree. Well, Sasha, thank you for the breaking news, ma'am. Everything else going well with you and yours?
Yeah.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. All right. Well, thank you again for the call, Sasha. We appreciate you joining us here on the show, and we will talk to you very soon.
I just have one last thing.
Sorry. What am I thinking? I'll tell you what. You tell me when you're ready to get off the phone, Sasha, and then I will let you go. So go ahead and tell me what you have next. Let's hear it.
No one wanted to see Reigns versus Corbin on Monday.
Yeah, no one did.
I bet Rebecca Smith wanted to see Reigns versus Corbin on Monday because Rebecca Smith loves her some Baron Corbin.
Yeah, but no one really wanted to see that match. But surprisingly, it wasn't bad.
No, of course not.
I mean,
because Baron Corbin is a severely underrated guy.
Yeah,
People give him a lot of shit, but he's actually a pretty good guy.
Yeah, but the one thing I'd say is that it suffered from the same thing that Hell in a Cell. It was too much, like at the end of the match. Little all the run-ins, the shield.
Agreed, it was.
Yeah, too much stuff going on. It's just it's getting kind of crazy. All right, and you got anything else for us, Sasha? I don't want to get you off the phone line here before you're ready to go.
That's all.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the call, Sasha. We will
Reigns.
talk to you soon. We'll look forward to the Roman Reigns cosplay for Halloween this year, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you for joining us.
I will. Bye.
Take care. That is Roman Reigns correspondent Sasha Reigns joining us here on the Speez and the Benchmark Show. So we appreciate her phone call. You can get in as well, 832-937-4559 or
832-93-SILKY.
It gets worse as the show goes along. It gets more ridiculous.
You gotta put a little
as we
stank
go.
on it. You don't know about that. You're right.
War of Oz. How long is Brock Lesnar's new contract with
that
WWE?
might be a bot because this one came in first.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Show Me Golfer asking how long. Oh, yeah, you're right. We got to you see, you got the phone there, so you got to block these porn bots when they come in. Just touch them and then hit block.
I want to
That
touch
kicks their asses out of here.
That's how you get SARS.
Jesus. That's a good question. Show me golfer. I'm not entirely sure how long the contract is for. I don't know that they announced it because it was sort of up in the air as to whether or not he had actually re-signed, and then word came out that he did re-sign, and it was one of those, we know that he's re-signed, but we don't know the contract details, and I don't know the contract details off the top of my head either, so I will do my best to find out, but I haven't heard up to this point. Looks like we got another caller coming in here. It's Tamika on the line, apparently. Let's see what Tamika has to say. What's up, Tamika? You're on with Speez and the Benchmark Show.
Hello, this is Mac Diesel.
Mac D. Okay. It says it's Tamika to make it in making Mac D.
What the fuck?
So our little call-in studio here does the talk to text, and that's how we see who's calling and who they're calling, what they're calling about. And it completely butchered whatever it was that you said on there. So my apologies. What's up, Mac Diesel? How are you, sir?
Oh, it feels like talking to an old friend. I just had a 13-hour day and was driving home, and hopefully I'm on the road. Hopefully you all can hear me.
Yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clear, man. Glad to have you with us. 13-hour day. What is it that you do, man?
Well, I'm in management, just kind of little business action, I guess you'd say.
Gotcha.
But I really wanted to call and kind of hear your thoughts here about today. Whenever I heard about Shawn Michaels is going to wrestle again, it kind of seemed a bit unceremonious to me to have such a big star come out of retirement. How'd you feel about that?
That's a great question, man. It's one of the things we're going to get to here on the show because he's apparently coming back for the Saudi Arabia show.
Yeah.
Going to tag up with Triple H against The Undertaker and Kane. And I agree with you. It was one of those things that very well could have been, or I guess you could say, should have been a very big deal because, let's face it, a lot of these guys have come back before, but Shawn Michaels is like a big deal. He hasn't been back in a very long time. Yes, I'm waiting for you. Thank you, Lit Mantis, for all the super hearts there. But Negro Damas is here for you, Mac Diesel. He's going to drop some knowledge.
No, I'm just playing the Negro Damas music because I fucking called that shit.
Oh, you called it Shawn Michaels? Well,
yeah,
okay.
I did. Remember we talked about it, and I was like, he probably would be back from in a tag team match with Triple H against Undertaker and Kane at that Saudi Arabia show. And what's happening? That's happening.
Okay,
so,
well, there you go.
I called that shit. Negro Damas.
Yeah, okay. He's getting credit for it. What do you think, Mac Diesel? Were you expecting to see more? Is that what you're saying? You expected it to be more of a big to-do that Shawn Michaels announced that he's coming back?
I kind of expected it to be more of a WrestleMania moment, maybe a surprise entrance at the Royal Rumble. But I will say, and this is kind of what they're going for, I guess, is I really didn't have any plans initially to watch the new Saudi Arabia show because though they're entertaining, they kind of seem a little bit like throwaway shows.
Yeah. It's just too many shows.
I will definitely be watching now that Shawn Michaels is wrestling, just more out of morbid curiosity, really.
Yeah, I agree. And also, you got to think with the Saudi Arabia show, the reason they took it in the first place, and we all knew this, was because of the absurd amount of money that they're getting. And I would assume that the paycheck for Mr. Michaels is quite impressive as well.
Yeah, they're making him out of retirement. I'm pretty sure that's a good chunk of coin.
So when you think about the fact that he's passed up WrestleMania opportunities in the past, if we're to take him at his word, which I don't see why we wouldn't, you would imagine that there's quite a bit of money being thrown towards him.
Because he said it on several occasions, like, again, on that Dinner at 3, which was like a weird pairing because it was like Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and AJ Styles.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that, but he had talked about being asked to come out and wrestle AJ and being asked to come out and wrestle a few other guys that he turned down. So, I mean, for him to come out of retirement for this, I think they will be making a big deal. But, because we still got the Super Showdown.
Yep.
So we got to get to that, and then Evolution.
Got Evolution after that, yeah.
So I think that's, as that crown jewel comes up, it's going to be a bigger deal that Shawn Michaels is coming back.
I agree. Mac Diesel, you got anything else for us, brother?
Hey, the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you go, I just wanted to point out that another crown jewel is your phone number. 1-832-93-SILK.
It's
There
beautiful.
you go.
Mac
Boom.
Diesel
That is
loves
the
it.
crown jewel. I will talk
Absolutely.
to you all later. It was nice talking to you guys.
Appreciate the call, Mac Diesel,
Diesel.
checking in with us on his way home from work. That's always nice. 13-hour day, and he still makes time to call in Speez and the Benchmark Show. So that's a beautiful thing. And yes, we got some football going on tonight, so thank you guys for joining us opposite the football game.
Yeah.
Bizarre one wants to know who's the next Ric Flair. That's another one. Like we got asked, what's the greatest WWE match of all time, and who's the next Ric Flair? Are the two questions we get hit with today. That's two tough ones, man.
Yeah, that's a very tough one. I mean, because honestly, I don't see anyone in this new crop that can be like the next Ric Flair. I mean, the closest thing we had to it was Triple H.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, as far as how he was used and everything,
And he wasn't even close. I mean, in terms of personality, the way he worked the crowd, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not gonna get it twisted. Triple H was great.
Yeah, Triple H is great.
Ric Flair's on another level, man.
I mean, yeah, there's no comparison to the two. But if you're gonna talk just closest in general, Triple H was the closest I think we'll see in a long time to another Ric Flair.
That's fair. That's fair. We're going to get to some of your questions here, gang. I know we got a lot coming in on the chat line, but we've got another phone caller joining us here. Looks like JD from Houston wants to talk about all the women's pay-per-view evolution going on. What's going on, JD? How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing very well. So what is it that you want to talk about with regards to evolution?
I'm really wanting to talk about how, like, I'm a really big fan of this women's stuff because I remember that back then they had, like, these bra and panties matches and stuff like that, and I thought that was just horrible.
Yeah, me too. That was ridiculous.
It was, and I respect what Vince is now doing with the women. And
Stephanie.
I'm really excited for this pay-per-view, especially since my birthday is coming up in October.
All right, then. So any particular match that you're looking forward to on Evolution? I know you get some big comebacks coming, some big stars coming back, I should say. Anybody in particular you're looking forward to on the card there?
I'm really looking forward to Ember Moon, actually.
Ember Moon? He's an Ember Moon fan.
Ember Moon.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's going to be nice to see Lita coming
girl.
back. I like to see Lita coming back as well.
I'm more, because I'm really not up on all the matches. I mean, the only one I really know is the Trish and Alexa Bliss, and I think that's going to be the crowd stealer.
I think so, too. I think Bliss is getting a bad rap here lately. People loved her for a while, and now all of a sudden they don't. But, just seeing Trish come back and be back in action, that'll be a very good one. So, all right, JD, well, thank you for the call. Good, sir. We appreciate it, and thanks for listening to the program, as always.
Oh, anytime.
All
I'd
right.
love to listen to more.
All right. Thank you, sir. You have a good night. JD from Houston, right here in the hometown, giving us a call here on the Speez and the Benchmark show. So we appreciate that. Let's get back to some of the questions over here. Brandon Apter points out that it's the Jets and the Browns. So
Yeah. I mean, nobody really gives a shit.
it's a sad state of affairs if we can't get our viewers to join us over the Jets and the Browns. So that wouldn't be too good. Looks like all the phone lines are open, so you guys can get in, 832-937-4559.
Or 832-93-SILKY.
Oh, Bizarre One said, who's next to come out of retirement? I mean, Ric Flair.
No. I hope not.
Like, who's next? Ric Flair? Is that who's...
It's going to be Mick Foley. He's going to come out and have a match with Paul Heyman.
I don't know. They were pretty adamant about the fact that Foley was told, absolutely no way are you allowed to take any bumps. From what I read, because he's in
I can see that too, because,
horrifically bad shape. Like, he's just not doing well. So let's talk a little SmackDown Live here, folks, because I know that many of you, I don't know if it's many of you, but many of the fans out there, we're big fans of Rusev Day.
Rusev Day.
Which now appears to be over.
Yeah.
Because of what happened on SmackDown Live on Tuesday. Of course, Rusev
RIP.
losing his opportunity to win the United States Championship, win back the United States Championship from Shinsuke Nakamura. And they did the same thing that they've been doing with Aiden English running in and causing him to lose the match and so on and so forth. But this time we actually took it a step further, and Aiden English went full on heel turn against Rusev. I guess that would be. I mean, he turned on his partner. I don't know if they're supposed to be. Who knows who's supposed to be faces and heels nowadays most of the time.
He's more of the, I guess, more of the Virgil to Rusev's $1 Million Man.
I guess.
In the sense that no one gave us flying fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, are we going to get a program between, you got to figure we're getting a program between Rusev and Aiden English. Is this going to do anything for either one of those guys? I would imagine it would do much more for Aiden English.
For Aiden English, it's great. For Rusev, not so much.
What's up, AC from New York? Good to have you with us. Yeah, Rusev, I mean, it makes sense. If you're going to break them up, they got to have a match.
But yeah, no, I don't see, him, I'm surprised he's on the main roster, honestly. He just didn't do it for me in NXT. And I did like the vaudevillains, but then after a while that shit gets played out, and then he had nothing to add.
Yeah, Rebecca Smith says, I'm going to send him to therapy. So,
yeah, because, in wrestling, you have to get along with every motherfucker that's on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry to be neglecting you guys over on the YouTubes there. Welcome to Gaster and Double G Gaming. Small channel 2, Electric Boogaloo. So glad to have you with us as well. Looks like he logged in from the long account. Now he's back as Electric Boogaloo. So that's good. We always like to see that. Let's get to another phone call here on the line. Looks like Brandon wants to talk about the cruiserweights, or lack thereof, in WWE. What's going on, Brandon? How are you?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. I'm a big fan of the cruiserweight division from like back in the day, Monday Night Wars, Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, Dean Malenko, that whole division. So just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the current state of the cruiserweights that are in the WWE now, if you'd like to see more of them. And yeah, that was my question.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Rey Mysterio, this was a story we were going to get to. If you follow the folks over at PW Insider, Mike Johnson at PW Insider is reporting that Rey Mysterio has, in fact, re-signed with the WWE. Looks like a 2-year deal there, so we can talk about...
I can confirm that report, yes.
Yeah, so, it is, if the question is, do I want to see more of the cruiserweights? Absolutely, yes. I'm with you. I grew up watching the cruiserweights when it was the guys that you were talking about,
The Eddie Guerreros, the Dean Malenkos, Chris Jericho.
Chris Benoit when he was there.
Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah, all of those guys were just outstanding.
Driver.
So I think moving them over and giving them their own show hasn't done them a lot of favors because it doesn't expose them to the broader fan base like it has in the past. But, it's one of those things where, yes, I would definitely like to see more of them. I think the folks that watch 205 Live will tell you that 205 Live has gotten so much better. The wrestling is great. The storylines are getting much better. It's a much more interesting show than it was before. But not having those guys out there with the main roster guys, and even when you were mixing them in with the heavyweights and such, like we talked about last week on the show, Neville having the match with Seth Rollins for the WWE title, to show that these cruiserweights can actually hang with those guys, I thought did them a lot of favors. Having them on their own show, it's.
I don't think they needed it because mainly the fact that there's no variety. Because cruiserweight is just cruiserweight, you know what I mean?
You mentioned it before, yeah. There's only so many times you can see
flippy shits,
the flippy guy against the hard hitting guy, or
all the technical. It's different variations of the same fucking thing. So. I think they should go back to, just having a match on Raw. I would split them up, honestly.
It wouldn't hurt.
I would put some of them, I'd have some of them wrestle on SmackDown, some of them wrestle on Raw.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
And that way, that it can be more diverse so the SmackDown audience can see it, the Raw audience can see it.
Yeah, totally agreed. Now, Brandon, are you a guy that watches 205 Live? Are you a viewer of the current cruiserweight product?
From time to time, when I get time to watch it. But yeah, I think the idea of having them kind of be sprinkled back into Raw and SmackDown is a very good concept because it's an area of wrestling that a lot of people watch New Japan for and everything like that. So it would be good to see them kind of sprinkled in on the main rosters and everything. And my last question for you guys, appreciate you letting me be on here, but who do you think the best feud would be once Tommaso Ciampa comes up to WWE, who do you want his first feud to be against, and why?
All right.
That's
well,
really
we're gonna clear up the phone lines here, Brandon. Thank you so much for the call as we get to your final question here. Tommaso Ciampa coming up to the main roster eventually.
Yeah.
Where do you see Ciampa fitting in on the main roster? Is he a 205 Live guy, or is he going to be a cruiserweight guy?
I don't want to see him as that.
I don't either.
I think that probably be the best for. It might be the best for him because I'd have to send him to SmackDown if we're talking main roster, because I just think with the guys that are at top of the Raw scene, he's just not going to get anywhere near. SmackDown's like more opportunities. I do him in like Daniel Bryan, just because that's a good over babyface, so he can do his heel shit and really get over with the crowd. So, I mean, if it was up to me, I'd send him to SmackDown and do something with Daniel Bryan. Yeah,
that'd be great. That'd be a great spot for him. I agree. And depending on where Rey Mysterio comes back up, I could totally see him in a feud with Rey Mysterio. That's another guy that you could see him perhaps having some action with on the main roster. But we'll see. I think Ciampa's still got a fair amount of time in NXT as the champ, and you'll probably see his rematch against whoever finally beats him when he does lose the title. But he's going to be a lot of fun when he gets up there to the main roster for sure. Let's see. Ralph Smith joining us. Thank you for being with us. He's also excited about Rey Mysterio. And Double G Gaming says, confirmed for Saudi Arabia, Cedric Alexander versus AJ Styles versus Pete Dunne versus Brock Lesnar for the longest reigning champ of all time trophy award. Because we're just going to give out random trophies. That's what we do. Will the women have their own weekly show, says Show Me Golfer.
No. I mean, I'm just going to say I'm against it, and it's not being sexist, but it's for the same reason I really don't watch 205 Live. It's going to be the same stuff. Like, I know they have a lot of female talent, they could do a show, but I think it's going to really hurt, because then all the stuff they do is not really that special anymore. You know what I mean?
And you have to ask yourself, the question becomes, and I'm talking about solely from an entertainment standpoint, not from a business standpoint. Because from a business standpoint, no, you don't give the women their own show, because they're not. It's not going to make the kind of money that they would need it to make.
That's for
Dr. Huge in the house. Thank you, sir. Rebecca Smith's a woman, and she's against it. She says, from an entertainment standpoint, you have to ask yourself: is it more about giving them a forum to showcase their talents and have more on-air time? And if that's the case, then yes, find a way to give them their own show. When you move over to the network, when you move over to Fox, give them their own show on the WWE network. Do something like that.
No,
but if it's about getting them in front of more people, you got to keep them on the main roster. You got to keep them out there in front of.
No, I mean, it's the same argument that we had with this cruiserweight.
Thank you for the Super Hearts, Dr. Huge. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, to me, it devalues everything they've worked for to this point, because it's just not special anymore. You don't
think them having their own show would be considered special?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure they'll hype it up like it's special, but at the end of the day, that takes away like what makes them stand out. And I don't mean to sound sexist, but what makes them stand out is that they're on this show that is dominated by men, and they are up to snuff with their talent, and they're showing. So they've got the main pay-per-view. They've got the Royal Rumbles now. They main evented a pay-per-view. And so that kind of goes away, because now if they're an island to themselves, they're becoming big fish in a big ocean, and you're going to take those big fish and put them in a small pond. Yeah,
I agree with you. I see where you're coming from. And honestly, I could see the argument both ways. I wouldn't necessarily agree with both takes, but I could see where there would be people who would argue that giving the women their own show where they can have more on-screen time, where you can expand the roster and have more women on the roster because there's more opportunities for them to wrestle. You can give them more television face time and let them get themselves over more that way. I mean, I could see that argument.
If you really want to do that, I mean, I would just say do something like a special all-female Raw, or not. That would be even bigger than their own show.
I totally agree with that.
Raw that every match is with the women.
Yeah, and again, that's not an altogether crazy idea. I mean, I could totally see them doing something like that, maybe down the road, but we'll see how it goes. Double G Gaming says, if they have HLA and bra and panties, I'm down for an all-women show. Always, leave it up to the sun to say that. I wouldn't mind a female-only style main event show, says Bizarre One. That's not bad. And Rebecca Smith agrees with you because you're such a swell guy. You know who else is a swell guy?
Who else?
Our good buddy Travis Wallach over at Prestige Properties. That's called Segway, Silky, is what they call that.
I mean, it wasn't a great segue.
It was a great segue, I thought.
It was pretty shitty, actually, but I see what you was doing there.
What's not shitty is all the fine work that our good buddy Travis Wallach does over at Prestige Properties.
That was a better segue.
713-882-4609, commercial and residential real estate. If you're looking for a new place of business, new place to live, anything like that, if you're down here in the Texas area, give him a look. And give him a call or shoot him an email, travw777@gmail.com. He'll get you squared away. The whole Wallach family is on board with what we do here on the show. His father, Cooper Wallach, is a huge supporter of Domination Zone Wrestling and Silky Baines, the benchmark over there. And he's been a great supporter of our show as well, as have Travis and Travis's brother, who will also be doing a commercial for those guys soon. What's that?
I said Tyler?
Yeah, Tyler Wallach.
Yeah.
So
I've got a couple of his shirts.
Yes, you do. So for now, look up our buddy Travis. 713-882-4609. Prestige Properties, proud sponsors of the Speez and the Benchmark Show. You can get in on the phone lines, folks, 832-93-74559. I always want to stop on the 3 and say 93 Silky, but I know I won't be able to get away with it anymore.
832-93 Silky.
Juanito is with us on the YouTube. It's good to see you, sir. I'd move from this hellhole, but my family is here, says Dr. Huge. Well, if you ever make it down, look, Dr. Huge is doing big things. Speeds the Benchmark doing big things. Our buddies over at Get the Tables going to be on after our show tonight doing big things.
Big things.
Once we all start getting, our own little spots all around the country, so that when we go to do live sit-ins on Dr. Huge's show, Doc comes down here to be on our show, and so on and so forth. We just have our own pads all around the country. You look up Travis when you come down that way. No problem there at all. Let's talk about AJ Styles and Andrade Almas on Tuesday. Got a lot of positive reviews on the Twitters, and everybody seemed to love that match. Did you happen to catch?
I did catch that
Styles
match.
and Almas. What did you think?
I thought it was a great match. I mean, Almas' stock is rising. I mean, he's pretty much at this point, I think he can go out there and wrestle a fucking broom and make it entertaining, which is a big praise for me in the sense that I was not always an Almas guy. Like, when he was on NXT, it wasn't until, really the match with Gargano that I really started looking at him differently.
And that was a great match with Gargano. Yeah. And that wasn't just Gargano either.
It's all of the matches with Gargano.
That was a great match with Gargano.
Yeah, so now that he's on the main roster, he's showing. I mean, unfortunately, I don't see him in that main event picture anytime soon. But, he'd be a nice, U.S. champ.
He's got a few guys he's got to leapfrog before he gets to that main event picture, but it sounds like...
I mean, I'd like to see him instead of doing these great matches with these top-tier talent where he's putting them over, but the rub is he's looking good in defeat. I'd like to see them give him something to work with, like an actual feud.
Yeah, I agree. And he had the thing going with Rusev Day and, the mixed tag match with him and Zelina against Lana and Rusev and so on. And that was okay. Yeah, it was a little something for him, but
I need something more. Like, take Vega out, take Lana out. Like, if you want to go in on Rusev versus Almas, go in on Rusev versus Almas and take away all the distractions so they can really shine. Because, I mean, when you add those other two components, I mean, it would just cheapen the match, I think, because, now that they've gone, and of course I'd never in this day and age, and especially having girls, looking back at the old school wrestling, the violence with men on women is definitely not cool, but that's why I'm not a big fan of these mixed tag team matches, because nothing like, you want that drama of your partner crawling and making the double tag come in hot, but when all one person's got to do is tag, it really just, to me, fucks up the flow of the match.
Yeah, and that's where the indies do it different, because the indies have it to where the women are mixing it up with the men. And I think there's a lot of women out there that would like to see it done that way. It's not going to be done on the main roster anytime soon.
It's not going to be done on any public company.
Yeah, but we have seen
maybe
it.
Impact, but
We have seen it with
shit.
folks like Jordan Grace getting in there and mixing it up like she did at the All In over budget battle royal. I mean, there's women out there that have held their own in competitive matches, and so it can be done. But as far as it being done on the main roster, we'll see. One of the things I wrote down on my notes here: what would you think about Almas getting into a feud with Rey Mysterio? Because that's the first thing that a lot of people went to when they heard Mysterio was coming back. They said, this is the perfect guy.
I mean, it is.
To put in a
100%.
feud with Almas.
This is what I was talking about. Like, he needs that feud. I need that to happen because then Almas can really shine. You know, Mysterio can make him look great. I mean, they can it's a great bringing the Lucha Libre style of wrestling to the masses in like a good version of it.
Yeah.
Not a shitty version. Like, it's kind of like a throwback to when Del Rio started, and Del Rio did the thing with Mysterio.
Yeah, yeah.
So
shout out to Juanito. He just said the same thing on YouTube right before we said it here. Almas versus Mysterio would be a great match. Yeah, and I don't think it's stereotyping at all, Rebecca, to say that putting a top Hispanic star against another top Hispanic star.
It's racist.
There's not a whole lot of Hispanic stars. I mean, that's one of the things that makes Almas interesting, is because if you believe what people have said about Vince McMahon wanting another Hispanic superstar, a la Rey Mysterio, Almas would be a guy that makes sense. It's why we keep hearing rumors that Alberto Del Rio might make his way back to the WWE again.
Why?
The rumor being that Vince wants somebody that's Hispanic to have on the roster, to have, they can have those kind of matches. And look, Vince is all about thinking globally. And so he's trying to get people that will, I mean, he's gotten people from Japan, he's gotten people from India, he's had people from Mexico there before. I mean, there's people from all over the world, and he's going to try, even though I think he knows at the end of the day, he might not because he's Vince, but you can't be all things to all people, but he's sure as hell going to try because he's got a little bit of everything, and he's really waiting for that next big Latino superstar. So we'll see if it's Almas. Obviously, Mysterio coming back is going to provide something in the short term, but you got to think a guy like Almas, provided that he's, keeping his head on straight, and Zelina Vega seems to be doing wonders for him in that respect. So whether it's kayfabe or not, hopefully he gets something going. Hey, big nose with the small dick. That's I don't have the bit here. That's one of Dr. Hughes' drops. Always talking about Del Rio, talking about Triple H. You can say Mexican. It's proper in my eyes, says Alistair Fiend.
Mexican.
You
say Mexican.
El Rey gonna. It's just
What?
Getting ridiculous.
Where? Gonna kick they culo.
Exactly. It's getting nuts. Look at the gender title run. Exactly. Bizarre one. Exactly what we're talking about. Okay. On to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch had her big celebration on Tuesday. What are they? The coronation.
Yes,
of her being the SmackDown Live Women's Champion, which of course was interrupted by Charlotte. Charlotte thing, whatever. It's neither here nor there. That's what they're doing. They're going with it. So be it. Here's my question. I put this out there on Twitter. I'm curious to hear what you guys thought. I felt like, because I wasn't a big fan of the Becky heel turn, and I'm still not a huge fan of it. I understand. I understand people like it. That's fine.
You're what's wrong with fans.
I would have liked to see her stay as a face. I felt like when Becky got that title back, she should have been able to celebrate that with the fans, because I really honestly feel like she's one of those people that the fans clamored for her to get that title back so much that eventually WWE had to start listing. They don't have to, but I really feel like they did. I feel like fans have been on the Becky bandwagon for so long, and I really wanted to see her be able to celebrate this moment with the fans. And I feel like this bullshit heel turn that they have her on really kind of robbed her of that moment. It robbed her of that opportunity to celebrate with the fans. I'm interested to hear y'all's take on it and see if you feel the same way.
I like the heel turn. It's something different. I feel like if they had done it, the whole she wins and go celebrate with the fans, it's just fucking it's old. You know what I mean?
What's old? The celebrating with the fans thing?
Yeah, it's we've seen it 1,000 times.
Well, we've seen it 1,000 times, but it's not... Again, and I don't mean to interrupt you. I think where this one's different is I feel like the fans played a part in this one. it reminded me, not to this extent, obviously, but it reminded me of Daniel Bryan's run to eventually getting the title at WrestleMania 30, where the fans had such a big part in it. I felt like they should have had a big part in the celebration as well.
But that was part of the story, you know what I mean? That the Daniel Bryan was constantly passed over. That was all written into the story. With Becky, it was more organic than that. It was the crowd like, hey, we want Becky. I feel like, honestly, and there's a comment by Double G Gaming about she's the hottest thing in WWE right now, which is true. I feel like if she hadn't done that, she wouldn't be.
You don't feel like
she'd just be another face that won a fucking title.
You don't feel like if Charlotte had turned on her,
no, because
she still would have
fucking Charlotte do that.
But it's still, you don't feel like it still would have had the same fire to it.
No,
it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been
the same old shit. Everyone, I mean, they've seen Charlotte as a heel.
That's fair.
So I feel like this is the best move because, like I say, it's got us talking. It's got everybody talking. She is probably the hottest. I mean, hotter than Roman, hotter than Rollins, hotter than anyone on the WWE main roster right now is Becky Lynch.
At this particular point in time, you're probably right. You're probably
so,
right.
I mean, only thing is I feel like they're still missing out a little bit. They could push this a lot more with her heel turn. Like, Charlotte's just so, I mean, not unlikable, but she's not playing the role right.
And I don't think Becky's settled into the heel role either.
No, I think Becky's doing great. She's knocking that shit out the park. But it's kind of hard to get the fans to. There's some that are booing her now, which is great. But I think it'd be more universally across the board if Charlotte wasn't coming across a little bit heelish in like her promos. Because like if you look at the promo from Tuesday, she was very condescending.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, like so is if she had, and some of this I agree with. Like I was listening to Bustin' Open, and I agree with Bully Ray's take. If she had just done acquiesce to everything that Becky did, and Becky was like no, and changing it, then it would have made her look like, how can you hate someone that's literally like, you beat me, I'm coming out, I shouldn't have done it, and you want me to raise your hand? I'll raise your hand. And she'd be like, no, I don't want you to touch me.
Yeah.
You want me to put the belt on you? Okay.
And that's a great take. That's a great take.
Something like that, and then boom. Because then she's more likable. I mean, and then that, like the line where she was like, call me queen, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would have had a little more weight is because now it's like, she was kind of being bitchy in the promo.
No, I agree.
So you're just basically commenting on how she's acting, where if she's being nice, there's a total difference from if I'm being nice to you, I'm doing everything you say. You tell me to raise your hand, I go to raise it. You're like, no. You tell me to put the belt on you, I go to put the belt on you. You're like, no. You tell me to refer to you as queen. And, I'm like, okay. When she calls her a bitch, then it's like, okay, you're the actual bitch because she's doing everything in her power to try to squash this.
Right. And look, that's a great point because we've said it here before. It's that much harder for the baby faces to get over when the heels don't do their job, but vice versa. If the baby face is not gaining the sympathy of the crowd, then it's tough for the heel to get over and do their job as well. So let's get some of the comments we got here. Sasha Reigns doesn't like Becky now that she's a heel, but that's okay.
I like Becky and the leather pants.
And Show Me Golfer says you have to have a heel in the angle. I agree. WWE may not agree, but
that brings up another kind of segue.
Hold on, before we do that, let's go through a couple more of these comments so we don't leave everybody behind. Just can't buy her as a heel. How about an angry face? That's how I see her. Okay, that works. I think she's hotter than Braun, definitely. Sasha Reigns. Becky's killing it as a cocky heel. Totally agree. Mr. Warren Hayes, late to the party, but still at the party. It's always good to have you, sir. Feel free to give us a call if you like.
And Dr. Huge joining us over on the YouTubes now.
Oh, that's very nice. Good to see Dr.
Now,
Huge.
can I get to my point that you were interrupting?
Let's get to these YouTube channels here real quick. Let's be honest, says Double G Gaming. Becky was a fan favorite. I'll give you that. However, we didn't really care if she had the title until Charlotte joined their match at SummerSlam. I guess that's fair.
The
Charlotte brought
it's a take.
the Charlotte. No, but the Charlotte thing did take it to another level. If it had just been Becky beating Carmella, it wouldn't have been nearly as exciting. So that's definitely a fair take. Charlotte did come in the ring to give respect, and Becky just disrespected her, says Ralph Smith, who doesn't get behind heels, and I see that.
I mean, and I do see that, but at the same token, like I say, she came off very condescending.
She could have done a better job.
Like,
I agree.
she didn't come off like she's truly from the bottom of her heart, like, I'm showing you respect.
Yeah.
It's like just her tone and the way she was talking to her. Because I'd be the same way. Like, who the fuck you think you're talking to like that? I'm the fucking champ now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know.
Couple more minutes before we get out, folks. So if you want to get it on the phone lines, 832-937-4559. Now, Silky, let's get to this segue. It better be good because now you've been talking it
up. About the Cody Rhodes tweet about no faces or heels. Like in this modern wrestling, it's really up to the wrestlers to portray the story. So,
which we talked about here on the program many times in the past. And he kind of, I don't want to say he backtracked, but not to say that heels and faces can't work nowadays, but with somebody like, here's where I come out on it. Somebody like Cody Rhodes that bounces back and forth between different promotions and so on is going to have more of an issue maintaining a heel persona or a face persona, especially in his case is a prime example of it. If he's a heel in one promotion, he's a face in another promotion.
I mean, it's not really that hard. I mean, he has enough stroke to where he can say, you know what? I'm on Ring of Honor TV, and I'm a heel. I'm on New Japan. I'm a heel. I need to be a heel. Any other place that tries to bring him in.
And I think he can do that for sure. Yeah. I just think that...
So I don't think it's that hard. Like, I can do that, and I don't even have the stroke Cody have. If I want to be, if I take a booking in town close to where I'm at, I tell them, hey, I need to be a face because
people around here know me.
Yeah,
they're gonna cheer for me when they show up.
Yeah.
So don't fuck it up by booking me as a heel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think with somebody, what I was getting at is with somebody like Cody, I can see where he would say heels and faces don't matter as much anymore because he's the kind of guy that plays both. He bounces back and forth between both. So he's.
And what do you think about the comment about the crowd? I know that's something we've talked about several times. How it's up to us as wrestlers to entertain the crowd enough. So basically, in a sense, it's like saying, and I'm just paraphrasing my own interpretation of it, so don't take it as I'm copying and saying it straight from Cody, but it's like saying if your match was good enough, they wouldn't feel the need to pull out beach balls and try to get themselves over.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that take because here's the thing. I am of the firm opinion because I saw it firsthand in New Orleans this year, and I've seen it on television, but to see it play out live in front of me, there are people that go to WWE events with the sole purpose of sabotaging certain matches and certain superstars.
But I mean,
and there's no other promotion in the world that deals with that.
Well, I mean, to play devil's advocate, it's not sabotaging. Could you make an argument that it's not sabotaging, it's just them voicing their opinion, and because it's different than what you feel like they're sabotaging the match?
Well, here's my thing. Because again, I've said in the past, and I stand by this statement 100%. If you want to go boo your ass off at every face on the show, and you want to cheer your ass off for every heel on the show, more power to you. That's fine. But when you start deliberately chanting shit that doesn't have anything to do with the match, or doing shit like pulling out beach balls and doing all that other kind of stuff, that doesn't have anything to do with you not liking...
Again, devil's advocate, could that be on the guys who are actually working the match that's saying that...
No, because that happens before the matches even start. It started at WrestleMania before Roman and Brock, before they even rang the bell. All that shit was starting. I mean, it was very obvious that the idea that those fans had, that segment of the fan base had, was, fuck this match, we don't want to see this match, so we're not even going to give the match a chance. We're going to start chanting bullshit. And people pointed it out beforehand. There were people tweeting back and forth. Hey, who's at the show? What are we going to chant during the Reigns match? And, people took screenshots of the tweets between these fuckers because that was their sole thing. So I see where Cody's coming from, but at the same time, they say, oh, well, you don't see that in New Japan. Yeah, because you don't have fans of WWE who say, fuck New Japan, I don't like New Japan, going and buying tickets and deliberately trying to fuck up New Japan shows.
Yeah, but I mean, New Japan is also all the way over in Japan, so the whole culture.
That's
is
my
different.
point. I mean, that's
it's apples and oranges
to a
what you're
certain
saying.
extent.
No, not to a certain extent. To the very letter of what apples and oranges means.
Okay, then why are we talking about why Cody said that? Because
No, I was just getting your take on it.
I mean, I think, I agree. It's a different culture, definitely. But it's unfortunate that this shit happens here. So, good night to you, Ralph Smith. Thank you for being with us. They're used to the cheers and the boos. The other crap, no, which is true. I mean, I don't think you ever.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you have. I mean, on one hand, yes, they have the right. They paid their money. They can do what the fuck they want to do. But on the other hand, as a performer, yeah, it is very obnoxious. And I've been on shows like back early days when I was working for the NWA, where they literally kicked out a group of people because they were just being annoying. They had like megaphones and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, just deliberately trying to ruin the show.
Get the fuck out. Like, don't come back.
And I wouldn't have a problem if WWE did that at all. Bob Aruski says you'll get your ass beat in Japan trying to hijack a match, and that's you would have got your ass beat back in the day here too if you tried to pull that shit back in the territory days when you and I were kids. Put up with that bullshit at all. So we got time for one more phone caller here, and we got one waiting for us here on the line. Our good buddy Mr. Warren Hayes with us on the Speez and the Benchmark show. What's going on, Warren?
Hey guys, I figured I'd give a call in, hijack your show.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
No, but your discussion is your perpetual discussion on heel face is one of the great storylines of wrestling podcasting right now. How you guys always talk about it, and it's always very interesting. And we also talked about it when I was on your show a few weeks ago. And here's something and to add on to your conversation, to this conversation that Cody started saying, well, it's up to the wrestlers, no heels, no faces. Let me ask you a question. Who's it? Kenny Omega, is he heel or face?
He's face. Very much face.
So
is he?
So he says he's very much a face.
Very much a face right now.
Right, okay.
He certainly wasn't a face for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he certainly had the...
I mean, he started off heel, but...
See, that's what was odd about that whole thing, because the Bullet Club was technically a heel faction.
Yes.
So when you had two guys within the heel faction fighting against each other, they're still both fucking heels because they're both, heel faction guys.
It's basically NWO Black and White versus Wolfpack all over again, in a sense. Right. Where you had the one that seemed cooler, so fans started loving them.
What do you think, Warren? Do you have Kenny Omega as heel or face right now?
Well, here's the thing. I'm happy you guys answered, he's a face, because you fell right into my trap.
Of course.
Earlier this week, he did an interview, right? Because, he's slowly building up his Wrestle Kingdom match against Tanahashi, who still has the G1 championship. And he started putting down Tanahashi's career, started calling him an old fucker, that he didn't belong in wrestling anymore, that he's old, so on and so forth. Tanahashi is arguably a much larger face.
Totally agree with that.
The Japanese crowd.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Than Kenny Omega is. So it's interesting that you guys said, oh, yeah, definitely Kenny Omega is a face, while he is currently putting down the John Cena of New Japan, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. As far as those guys are concerned, I think if you asked Kenny Omega if he's a heel or a face, I honestly think he would give you the exact same answer that Cody did, and he would say no such thing, because he's going to be one of those guys that and so somebody said it here on the
Brock Lesnar, like in the sense that he goes wherever the match goes, like
that's what Bob Aruski's saying. It's who's he facing? If he's one of those guys that if he faces a heel, he can get over as a face. If he's facing somebody like Tanahashi, who, as you correctly mentioned, is one of the most popular guys in the history of the promotion over there.
Yeah.
He's not going to try to fight his way into being a face. He's going to say he's going to concede to the guy who's been around for 25 years and say, "Okay, I'll do the heel thing." But yeah, Warren, it's one of those things where it's a fun conversation to have, because honestly, I still feel like, and I won't speak for Silky, but For me, I still enjoy feuds much more when we have that clear heel-face distinction. But at the same time, I totally understand where there are guys out there who say, it's kind of fluid,
I more enjoyed, like, the story. It doesn't have to be heel-face because two faces can have a great feud.
That's true, too.
If written with the proper motivation for them to be at odds. Like, they could start off as them, respecting, and then as they're trying to go for the win, it's almost like it was one of Kenny Omega's matches, like with Ibushi, where they're going back and forth, but as the match is going on, the very last match of the G1 that they had, as the match was going on, they were getting more and more brutal because there was something at stake.
Yeah, I agree. Warren, tell the folks where they can hear more of your thoughts on heels and faces and NXTs and 205s and so on and so forth, good sir.
Oh, man, that's way too generous, but I'm going to take advantage of it. tinyurl.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. That's my YouTube channel. And on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes. You guys, you have probably, undoubtedly, unquestionably, the best show for wrestling fans out there, guys. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Warren.
I appreciate every moment I can.
Hey, we appreciate you, sir, and we'll have you back on soon once we get another NXT takeover coming up our way. We'd love to have you back.
Looking forward to it, guys. Take care.
All right, take care, brother. Thanks for the call, Mr. Warren Hayes. That's at Mr. Warren Hayes on the Twitters. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to argue that there are guys that are definitely able to move between heels and faces. I think, for me personally, I prefer it that way. And honestly, I feel like within the context of what the WWE does, I feel like they can get away with trying to keep guys as solely heels and solely faces because their guys aren't going into wrestling anywhere else.
Yeah,
and that's really the only company on the planet that does that right now, so they can afford to do it. So we are getting close to the top of the hour. I agree with the bizarre one. Classic heel versus face is still money. Like Cody versus Juice. Cody's going to be a heel, no doubt. Yeah. And Babaruski says, against Tanahashi, he's got to go the heel route because everybody loves Tanahashi. And I agree with that. I'm looking forward to their match. I think it'll be.
I really am.
I think it'll be very good. All right, Silky. Anything else for the people before we say good night this evening?
October 13th, if you're in the Katy area, come see DZW Presents Hallowed Ground 3.
Hallowed Ground 3, the 3rd anniversary of Domination Zone Wrestling here in Katy. And the Benchmark will be in action?
Benchmark will be in action. 3 Stages of Hell.
Excellent. Well, check that out online, dzwrestling.com or at dzwrestling. Don't forget to head over to the Get the Tables podcast. See our good friends from Get the Tables. And as for us, we are back on Monday night following Monday Night Raw. So thank you, everyone, for being with us. Everybody who called into the program here tonight, we appreciate it so much. For the Benchmark, Silky Baines, Chris Spizak, we will see you next time here on the Speez and the Benchmark Show. Good night, everybody.